So let's begin. So as you all know, today's world is a digital first world, and around 95% of the CEOs, they see that they want to move from their physical equivalents to the digital equivalents. But doing this digital transformation, this is not very easy. So we have seen that customers have been using the traditional data center, but they have been facing multiple challenges over there because of static infrastructure, manual operations, and waterfall development processes. And that's why over the last few years, they have been started migrating their workloads to cloud, because public cloud inherently it is more elastic, more automated, more agile, and it helps them migrate and modernize their applications faster. But when we talk to our customers, they always mention that this is not that easy the way they thought before starting their migration journey. And there are multiple reasons for that. So first is like different skill sets and processes. So when they migrate to cloud, they have to learn new tools, new skill sets. There is a big learning curve over there. They have to hire some new staff as well. Also operational inconsistencies. So they cannot use the same tools and processes they have been using in their on-prem infrastructure. So there are divergent tools that they have to manage when they move to the cloud. Different tools and management consoles, so I already mentioned that. Also different machine formats. So when they move to the cloud, they have to re-architect or refactor their applications, and that is very cumbersome task. And also incompatible configurations and capabilities. And because of that, it adds a lot of complexities and it delays their migration process. So we figured out that customers, when they start their migration journey, there are 3 key areas where they feel it is very challenging to migrate to the cloud. The first one is so the first one is while migrating to the cloud. So these are some of the key challenges when they start migrating. Then the next one is, while operating in the public cloud and while modernizing their applications. So first thing is when they migrate to the cloud, the cloud, it is designed with high granularity of these services. So if they try to modernize any application, they have to assemble dozens of different services, and these services are highly independent of each other. So they have to figure out, like, how am I going to integrate this service? Am I going to do it myself, or am I going to outsource it to some other company? So a lot of different challenges involved when they start operating in the public cloud. And then the next set of challenges is while modernizing their applications. So this one-size-fits-all refactoring strategy, it doesn't work the way it seems. So because the value delivered by the applications or their infrastructure needs, their DevOps processes, architectural designs, they are all different for different types of applications. So they cannot do the modernization at once. So there needs to be a way to do the modernization pragmatically, step by step. And because of all these challenges, customers have seen that there is a reduced value when they migrate to the cloud. Also, it takes longer time for them to migrate to the cloud because of all these challenges. Also, higher risk is involved, a lot of security concerns that customers have raised. And last, very important one is higher costs. So they see that after moving to the cloud, actually their costs have been increased than their on-premises environment. So in order to address these challenges and help customers accelerate their cloud transformation journey, we started this service, VMware Cloud on AWS, around 6 years back. So VMware and AWS, 2 powerhouses in private cloud and public cloud respectively, they came together and they started with VMware Cloud on AWS. And we have been doing a lot of new feature releases every quarter. So we launched the GA of this service in 2017. And since then, every quarter, we are releasing new features and capabilities for this service. And Oleg will cover some of the latest features in the later section. So let's look at the service itself, what it means. So on the left-hand side, you can see that this is your on-premises infrastructure. On the right-hand side, it is the AWS Cloud, and in the middle, you can see this is VMware Cloud on AWS environment. So what we are providing to you is the entire VMware software-defined data center stack that includes vSphere, vSAN, NSX, along with vCenter management, and that is running on bare metal AWS EC2 instance. So the key point here is this is not a nested virtualization. So everything is running on bare metal EC2 instance. So there are no any latency issues or anything. And this service, this is the only service that is delivered, operated, and supported by VMware. So VMware is your single point of contact for any kind of support. VMware is responsible for providing all the updates, upgrades, patches, so you don't have to worry about anything in terms of lifecycle management. Also, you can purchase this service on on-demand model, where you can buy the service on hourly basis, or you can go for flexible consumption options, like you can pay for monthly, you can pay like 1 year or 3 year subscription. So there are a lot of different consumption options available there. Then operational consistency with the on-premises environment. So everything is based on same vSphere, vCenter APIs that you have been using in your on-prem environment for last 20 plus years. So a lot of operational consistency, and that helps you in doing your migration. Next very important point is seamless large-scale workload portability. So we are providing something called as VMware HCX, and it is part of the service. So you are not paying anything extra for that. But with VMware HCX, you can do bulk migration. So you can literally migrate hundreds or thousands of workloads at a time. Also with vMotion, you can do live migration, so there won't be any downtime while migrating your workloads. Another key thing is hybrid operations. So we are providing some hybrid capabilities, like for example, there is something called as hybrid link mode. So once that is enabled, you can have a single pane of glass view for all of your resources that are there in your on-prem environment and in VMware Cloud on AWS. Next very important point is global AWS reach, footprint, and availability. So today the service is available in 26 different regions, and every quarter we are extending the service availability in different regions. And I'll show the regional availability map in a bit as well. Next very important point, so direct access to native AWS services. So we are providing you a specially engineered elastic network interface connection. So using that, you can access around 200 plus native AWS services from your VMware Cloud and AWS environment. So that is especially useful if you are trying to modernize your applications using any of the AWS services. And last very important one is, suppose say you want to scale your storage capacity independent of compute, then you can do that as well. So we are providing multiple options for that, and we are going to talk about that with our latest announcements as well. So these are some of the key numbers. So service is available in 26 regions and expanding every quarter. There are 25 plus global certifications available on the service today. Then if you want to set up a SDDC, it takes around 65 minutes to set up the entire SDDC. And according to your requirements, you can add host in around 12 minutes. So today, there are 300 plus ISV ecosystem partner solutions that are validated on VMware Cloud and AWS. So like for various reasons like security or networking or any other reasons, if you are using these ISV solutions on-prem, most of those are already validated on VMware Cloud and AWS. So you don't have to use any different solutions. Also 99.99% SLAs with the stretch cluster capability. So basically we are providing high availability. And around 650 plus solution competent partners. So if you are working with any of the partners that are listed there in these 650 plus partner list, then you can work with the same partners. So let's look at some of the key differentiators of the service. As I mentioned in the challenges slide, that when you go for any other public cloud, you have to assemble dozens of different services if you want to deliver the enterprise applications. But here, that is not the case. So what we are providing is we are providing you the complete enterprise-ready turnkey solution, a complete package. So you can just have that, and you can deliver the enterprise applications. Next is fast and non-disruptive migration. So you don't have to re-architect or refactor your applications, and the migration process is very smooth and very fast as compared to any other public cloud options. Next very important one is pragmatic and non-disruptive modernization. So as I mentioned, one-fits-all refactoring doesn't work in modernizing your applications. But here you can do it pragmatically according to availability of your resources, your timelines. Next is compelling TCO. So I'm going to show the TCO slide in a bit as well, but we are providing some resource optimization options. Then also in terms of migration, you are saving a lot of cost there. So because of that, you can see in one of the next slides that how you are going to reduce your TCO as compared to your on-prem investment or your other native cloud options. And the last one is consistent and familiar cloud platform. So whatever you are using today in terms of tools, skill sets, processes, you can use the same ones in the cloud with VMware Cloud and AWS. So that is a key differentiator over here. So I already talked about it. So this service is delivered and supported by VMware and its partners, and all updates, upgrades, patches provided by VMware. And this is a mature, it provides the mature service operations and response teams are also in place for any kind of support. Let's quickly look at some of the key use cases. The first one, and very widely adopted use case, is application migration and modernization. So we have seen customers using VMware Cloud on AWS for scaling their line of business applications, or there are some customers who have some application needs where these applications have some architectural requirements, and they cannot move these applications to any other cloud. Rather, they have used VMware Cloud on AWS for those specific applications who have specific architecture needs. Also the next generation applications. So say if you want to enrich the value of your existing applications, then you want to modernize those applications, you can use VMware Cloud on AWS. Next, this is one of the most widely adopted use cases as well, which is data center migration. So customers have been using VMware Cloud on AWS for outsourcing their data center. So they are not happy with their colo facility, or their lease is going to get expired. They are not happy with the SLAs. So they want to get rid of their data center and move completely to the cloud. They have been using VMware Cloud on AWS for that. Or say there is infrastructure refresh cycle coming up, and they want to modernize their infrastructure. They have moved their workloads to VMware Cloud on AWS. And then another widely adopted use case, especially we saw that recently, is disaster recovery. So customers have been using VMware Cloud on AWS for ransomware recovery needs, or if they want to move completely out of, if they want to move their DR setup out and move to DR as a service in the cloud, they have used VMware Cloud on AWS. And we have our in-house solutions for that, like VMware Site Recovery or VMware Cloud Disaster Recovery. So those work as add-on solutions on top of VMware Cloud on AWS, so you have to purchase those separately. Or if you are using any of the partner solutions, then we have a lot of partner solutions that are certified on VMware Cloud on AWS that can help you with your DR needs. And then the last one is data center extension. This is the second most widely adopted use case. So some of the key scenarios over here is, say, customers want to expand their footprint across different regions, or say they have some on-demand capacity needs for a variety of reasons, like some seasonal spikes in demand or some event coming up, and they want to set up IT infrastructure for that event and tear it down once the event is over. Or if they have some virtual desktop needs in the cloud, like for example, during the pandemic, many customers reached out to us and they wanted to set up their virtual desktop infrastructure in the cloud, like these universities or lab setup. So for that, they have used VMware Cloud on AWS. So this is the packaging slide. I have mentioned most of the things over here, but basically, you can purchase this service on per host basis. And when you purchase the host, what you get is you get the AWS hardware, the EC2 hardware instance. You get the VMware SDDC software. You get all the support, global support included. Lifecycle management is included. And there are some optional add-ons. And you can purchase this from VMware or AWS or any of our partners. And there are multiple payment options available. Also, there are different consumption options available as well. So for VMware Cloud and AWS, we are offering 2 key instance types. First is i3EN metal, and these are some of the key specifications of i3EN metal. So this is more useful for like storage-bound workloads. And then the second one is i4I metal. So we announced this last year. So this is for the general purpose workloads, and you can see all the specifications over here. And we have made another announcement for another instance type today morning, so we will cover that later. So this is our regional availability map. The service is available across 26 regions, and the Asia Pacific Hyderabad is the latest region that went live last month. And we have 2 more regions coming up. These are our compliance certifications. So you can see we have like compliance certifications, like global compliance certifications from different regions. Okay, now let's talk about TCO. So we did some studies with the help of some analyst firms. So on the left-hand side, this is the study that we did with Forrester, where they interviewed some of our existing VMware Cloud and AWS customers. And these were the customers who were using traditional vSphere on-premises. And what they found out after interviewing these customers was these customers have seen around 53% recurring savings in terms of infrastructures and operations costs when they moved their environment from on-premises to VMware Cloud on AWS. And on the right-hand side, those are interesting numbers as well. So this is the study we did with the help of IDC. So they also interviewed our existing VMware Cloud and AWS customers who were using some other native public cloud options before moving to VMware Cloud and AWS. And what they saw after moving to VMware Cloud and AWS is basically their costs were reduced by more than 57%. They saw more efficiency. And also there was less unplanned downtime, around 83% less unplanned downtime. So that's a huge number. So those were some of the key stats that we found out after we interviewed our existing customers. And when we talk about this TCO and all, so basically we want to do some like apple-to-apple comparison, like what are some of the key elements of this TCO comparison. So you can see that because, as I mentioned, we are providing you the entire package, like vSphere, vSAN, NSX, so you are getting everything together. And with this entire package that we are providing, there itself customers are saving around 27% of the costs. Then the next is, as I mentioned, we are providing some resource optimization techniques like CPU over subscription or memory over commit or WAN optimization. And with all this, customers are able to bump up their savings to around 34%. Then the next is we are providing some additional features in terms of enterprise compute, networking, security, and storage. And with these additional features, customers are saving more, and the costs bump up to around 38%. Cost savings bump up to around 38%. And then the last one is because, as I mentioned, you don't have to re-architect or refactor your application. You are saving a lot of like labor hours as well as a lot of time there. And with that, your savings bump up to more than 50%. So next is this is the slide that shows you some of the customer logos. This is like not exhaustive list. So these are only the customers who have given us permission to use their logos, but you can see we have customers for this service across different geographies and different industries. Now let's talk about a couple of customer stories as well. So first one is Kingston University, a renowned institute in EMEA. And they wanted the flexible and agile infrastructure. And their IT team wanted to support the university's transition to digital learning environment. So what they did was they used VMware Cloud on AWS, and they migrated around 300 VMs in less than 14 months. So that was like a very fast migration. Then the next is Quality Bicycle product. So this is another retail and wholesale business in Americas. And they wanted to consolidate their data centers and move completely to cloud. So they used VMware Cloud on AWS, and they were able to reduce their data center footprint by 90%. And they literally migrated 200 VMs without any downtime in just 3 weeks. So that was pretty impressive. And then the last one, so this is another use case in another customer story in different use case. This is the ransomware recovery use case. So VanEck, one of the financial services company in United States, so they recently faced with this ransomware attack, and they wanted some robust solution to deal with this ransomware attacks. And they used a ransomware recovery add-on on top of VMware Cloud on AWS. And with that, they were able to find pretty robust solution for these ransomware attacks. So this is a very recent customer story. As I mentioned, there are these add-on services on top of VMware Cloud on AWS for different needs like disaster recovery, cloud management, advanced networking, or if you are interested in using containerized applications, then there is VMware Tanzu. So all of these are available as add-on services on top of VMware Cloud on AWS. And we have a growing partner ecosystem. So we have 650 plus solution competent partners, and this number is growing every quarter. And I already talked about this. We have 100 plus ISV ecosystem partners and around 300 plus ISV solutions validated on VMC on AWS. So we are running this trial environment for VMware Cloud on AWS. So if you are interested in this service, but if you want to just try it out first to understand like how it works, whether it is suitable for you, then you can just scan this barcode and go to the trial page and sign up for the trial. It is free 1-month trial, so you get one host of i3 metal or i4 imetal, and you can try out, and then you can bump up to production environment and start purchasing the host. Also, we are running this multi-cloud adoption program. So with this program, we will provide you some credits, and that will help you in your migration efforts. So you can work with your partners and VMware and start this migration journey. So you can definitely check out with your VMware representative for this multi-cloud adoption program. Okay, and now with that, we have come to the next section where we are talking about some of the key announcements for VMware Cloud on AWS. So the first one that we announced today morning is this disaggregated compute and storage with the new instance type, which is M7i.metal. So this is really a groundbreaking innovation, especially for VMware Cloud on AWS. So first, let's talk about like why do customers need this disaggregated compute and storage. So today, like customer needs are changing. So they want to support these modern AI ML workloads. They want more flexibility. They want better performance to support these next gen workloads. Also, at the same time, they want to reduce their costs because customers have been very cost sensitive, and they want that cost efficiency. So because of this, what we have done is previously what you have to get is like with i4 imetal or i3 metal, you get this compute and storage tied together. So when you purchase a host, you get compute, you get storage, you get networking. But now with this new M7i instance type, we are disaggregating the storage, and you get disaggregated storage and compute. So we give you more flexibility in terms of choosing what you want in terms of compute and storage. So these are some of the key specs on M7i metal. So this is powered by 4th generation Intel Xeon scalable processors. So this is codenamed as Sapphire Rapids. And it has the turbo frequency up to 3.9 gigahertz. So with this processor, this is especially like a very high performance processor. You get some accelerators along with this, and these are very important in terms of accelerating the matrix operations, and also it helps in your AI ML workloads. So this is like very high performance processor that you are getting. You get 48 physical cores, 96 logical cores with hyper-threading enabled, and up to 37.5 Gbps of networking speed and 384 gigs of memory. And the key advantage over here is you have the flexibility in terms of choosing your storage. So you are not getting vSAN as a default storage along with when you purchase the host. So you can go for Amazon FSx with NetApp ONTAP, which is one external storage that you can use, or there is another option of VMware Cloud Flex storage that you can attach to your cluster. So let's talk about some of the key benefits over here from the customer's point of view. The first one, as I mentioned, is flexibility. So now you get this flexibility to choose your compute, to choose your storage. So you have multiple instance types like i3 metal, i4 metal, or M7 metal. So according to your use case needs, you can choose your compute. Then depending upon your storage needs, you can choose either vSAN, or you can go for Amazon FSx, or you can go for VMware Cloud Flex storage. So a lot of flexibility and options. Scalability. So scalability, say suppose you want to scale your storage independent of compute. So previously, if you have to scale your storage, you have to purchase host, and then unnecessarily you are paying for the compute, right? But now with this, if you just have to scale storage, you can just purchase storage, because compute and storage, they are independent now. Next one is cost efficiency. So with all this scalability and flexibility, you have the option to choose how much storage you want, how much compute you want, and you are not paying for unused or redundant capacity. And there itself, you are saving a lot of costs. And last one is improved performance. So as I mentioned, this is running on the latest Intel's 4th generation processor. It is very high performance processor, so you can run your AI ML workloads. So that is the biggest advantage especially for the AI ML workloads. And these are some of the key use cases over here. So the first one is some CPU intensive workloads, and some of the examples here is like image processing workloads, or video encoding, or gaming servers. Then another very important one is AI ML workloads. So say if you have any natural language processing workloads, or code generation, or recommendation systems, you can use that. Then the next one is workloads with limited resource requirements. So as I mentioned, if you need like less amount of compute or less amount of storage, and you want to decide what you want to use, then you can go for this instance type versus the others, where you need limited amount of resources. And last one is ransomware or disaster recovery. So say if you want to have a pilot light solution for your DR needs, or if you want to have ransomware recovery setup, then you can go for this instance type. And then I'll hand it over to Oleg. So Oleg will show you a demonstration for M7i instance type, and then he'll take it further with all the other announcements.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sonali. It's really impressive what can be produced, right, and what we're offering right now as a service. But with that, let us take a look at some of the technical details, right? So let us start first with M7i. In order to provision the new instance, it's actually nothing changed, right? You will use the same cloud services portal by logging to Cloud Services Portal as starting the SDDC deployment visit, right? As obviously, we need to provide the name. We need to select the region. Like nothing changed, right? We do support with M7i multi-host deployment with a single AZ at the moment. And with the instance type, right, you see this new M7i being now available as a part of this wizard. And that's basically it, right? So VMware will take care of provisioning management data store, right? Because it's a disaggregated instance, right? It's no storage, so we need to map a storage. That is something that will be done by us, right? And we will deploy SDDC exactly the same, right? Connected to AWS account, everything all in, but just not having a vSAN. And once we log into SDDC after the provision, as a part of the storage tab, that will be on you to provision a workload data store, right? So where you gonna run your VMs, it will be customer responsibility to add an external NFS data store. It could be, as Sonali mentioned, it could be based either on VMware Flex Storage, or it could be based on FSX for NetApp ONTAP, right? So that's the key here, just to understand the difference in the deployment process. Also, what is important to mention, in USDDC, you can deploy full SDDC as shown based on M7i, right? Only M7i clusters. You can mix and provision first cluster using M7i and seventh cluster using other different host type, right? So basically, what does it mean? You can provision your management cluster using these class instances, right? Not paying for the full i4i host. Or you can add this class or disaggregated storage instances to your existing SDDC while on 124, right? So those are supported use cases for M7i deployment at the time of the launch. With that, let me switch back, and we are happy to take your questions, right, regarding this new instance type after the session. But now let me switch to a number of new technical details and exciting things, right? I have only, 20 minutes, 25 minutes left to go over, like, a lot of things that we provisioned to the service for the last 1 year. The one we added at no additional cost, our management software stack, ARIA operation, ARIA automation, and ARIA for logs, meaning right now you have access to full log solution, to full monitoring solution and automation as a part of the same service, which is a great value at no additional cost. We do have advanced load balancer available as a service, also attached to VMware Cloud on AWS if you decide a need for advanced load balancer. And last but not the least, right, we just recently released a new SDDC version, right? As Sonali mentioned, what we are doing, we are deploying ESXi, NSX, and vSAN, if needed, if vSAN is a part of the storage stack, right? And with that, we're always staying on top with the current vSphere version, right? With the new 124, we added support for vSphere Update 2, which is the latest one available on the vSphere version. And that is a new release all SDDC will use. That will come in new enhancements that I'm going to talk about. And probably the important one, with 124, we enable vSAN Express storage architecture. That's really a new and changing factor for your instances with vSAN. It gives you another way to use local NVMe disk with much more resiliency, better space usage, and a better performance, right? So in terms of resiliency, and what we provide with ESA is when a disk failure occurs, it would not take the whole disk group out. It will just affect an individual disk. And it's really a great deal, right? Because when the whole disk group fails, we need to evacuate all the data for this disk group, right? Which may be a lot of data on the host that we have. For individual disk, that will be much less data, much less time to synchronize, much less network usage. So vSAN ESA is now available upon request, and it will be available for all SDDC running i4i in a nearest time. New thing, right? I hope that everyone in the room knows Cloud Sizer. So Cloud Sizer is your primary tool to size your SDDC environment, right? It's really the key to get the right sizing, to get it done right from the beginning. And the new enhancement for Cloud Sizer is now the beacon size for vSAN ESA. It also changes, as I mentioned, capacity requirements, right? Moving on with a ransomware recovery service. And ransomware recovery is now one of the key things happening in the world, right? We all know, unfortunately, all these attacks is a pretty common thing nowadays. So we enhanced our ransomware recovery offering with adding new services and new functionality available as a part of VCDR and ransomware recovery. Let us now go through some of the important things through compute, storage, and networking, just to recap all technical innovation we have with the service. And I think this one, Elastic DRS, is probably one of the key innovations we have with VMware Cloud on AWS service, right? It's not that you're running on top of AWS Cloud. It's our ability to leverage elastic capacity. And that is exactly what Elastic DRS does, right? It's basically monitor your consumption of resources on your SDDC and can help you to scale up or scale down without human intervention in your service. And before that, as you may remember, Elastic DRS was limited to some predefined policies, right? And as in VMware, we love to give choices. And right now, we support custom EDRS policies, meaning you can define your own threshold for scaling in and scaling out your SDDC, helping to match and match your workload consumption. We enhance lifecycle management. And I truly believe that the way how VMware Cloud on AWS does lifecycle management is the best what is happening with that service. It's fully automated. It's taking care not only of ESXi updates, NSX updates, vSAN updates. We're also doing automated firmware updates. And even so, the only thing how you would notice at that is looking at the logs. It's no influence on your workload because the way how AWS hardware is working, we were able to recycle just services without recycling the whole ESXi host. Storage sync, and I really would like you to pay attention to that. As you know, we launched a new feature and the ability to attach an external NFS data store 1 year ago. And in order to use this feature, you will need to go through Transit Connect. Everyone in this room probably knows that Transit Connect is a great routing solution, is a great thing to have. However, Transit Gateway is also associated with additional cost that you will need to pay for egress traffic flow, right? Obviously enough, it's good for networking use cases. However, for storage use cases, it might lead for additional cost. So what we did, we introduced now a VPC peering. Another way to attach your VPC, where FSX is deployed, to your VMware Cloud on AWS SDDC, reducing cost on transmitting traffic. It's a number of requirements for VPC peering. We now support only single AZ, right? With VTGV, you can do multi-AZ, right? For obvious reason, because that's a different way how your networking traffic being routed, right? So VPC peering only works with single AZ and same region. However, it's really key if you are now using external NFS data store for FSX, consider migrating from Transit Gateway to VPC peering because that will save you on cost. And not only that, right, as we're investing now a lot, as you can see on these disaggregated instances, we're also looking to improve overall performance accessing NFS data store. With that, we now change the way how we are connecting to external NFS data store, either Flex Storage or FSX, by improving a number of connections and enabling Jumbo Frame on our management interface. And everyone here with extensive VMware ESXi background would know that management, like management interface is used to access NFS data store, right? So enabling jumbo frames basically increase number of packets and what we can like payload in a packet that you can send over at a single moment in a time. With that, let us also take a look for news for VMware Cloud Flex Storage. It's now available through AWS Resell, which quite a good thing for all AWS customers, right? It's available in 17 regions, and we're now expanding file system per region and making it compatible with VMware Cloud Disaster Recovery, which actually might be a good use case, allowing you to save on the storage consumption with disaster recovery solution. Networking is always the key, right? So networking is the way how you consume application and workload running on your VMware Cloud on AWS SDDC. With that, we evolved from providing you access to network and security tab within your VMware Cloud on AWS console. And now we have so many new features to offer for networking that we need to find out a new way to manage it. So that's why we now moved away from exposing features inside of network and security tab to a full NSX Manager UI. NSX Manager UI is instantly available when you log into your SDDC. You just click on NSX Manager button, and you will get access to NSX Manager. And Network and Security tab is now serving only management purpose. That might be a change for your data operation, so make sure to review your operation workbooks, right? Because that's also helps you not only to improve the way how you manage networking, but also speed for SDDC console. Because right now we don't need to wait for NSX Manager, right? We just show you overall monitoring information on this tab. IPv6 support, I know that it's a lot of ask out there for full IPv6 support out on SDDC. We are working towards this goal with enabling IPv6 traffic inside of SDDC, ability to create a segments with IPv6, and also ability to route IPv6 through Direct Connect, right? We still, it's a number of items in the roadmap, like support for IPv6 through management interfaces for vCenter, right? However, we are definitely on a target to work towards enabling full IPv6 support for SDDCs. And that was a long, long waiting task for our customers, right? We all know that it's a need to provide a way to just audit what is happening without being able to change settings. And before that, in our, especially NSX for networking, it was like on the read-only, or you can get a full admin control. It wasn't enough for our customers, so with the recent 124 release, we now enable 4 additional NSX roles to help you more granularly manage permission for accessing NSX Manager UI. I'm sorry. And now for migration, right? We all know that like 8 out of 10 deployment for VMware Cloud on AWS is basically to help you establish a hybrid connectivity. And we even, like, it's a number of questions, okay, what if I would like to migrate my physical server? Or what if I would like to move for some reason EC2 instances? That's now a new functionality of vCenter Converter. vCenter Converter is available once again for your workload and can help you to migrate physical server or EC2 instances directly into VMware Cloud on AWS. And HTX. So HTX is our primarily tool to help you manage workloads across hybrid environments, and it helps you to migrate workloads, right? And HTX is now enhanced to support IPv6 as well. Moving forward with Gov Cloud, right? Don't forget that we have also VMware Cloud on AWS available in a key Gov Cloud region, right? So let me just recap that we now have FedRAMP High compliance along with other key compliance certification for GovCloud. And we worked a lot, and I think the main and the key things we brought into VMware Cloud on AWS GovCloud nowadays is support for VMware HTX, right? It was a long, outstanding task to help our government customers to enhance their migration capabilities. And with new release of GovCloud 1.22, we now have full compliance HTX solution. Moving further, we support VMware Cloud on AWS Outpost. And for VMware Cloud on AWS Outpost, we just recently enabled multi-rack and multi-cluster support to help you scale your on-premises deployment of VMware Cloud on AWS with VMware Cloud on AWS Outpost. And with that, we also provide you a lot of tools to help you facilitate your hybrid cloud deployment. And one of them is to go and help you understand what will be the best path to VMware hybrid cloud environment, and then analyze your workload, and then experience it by providing you access to a hands-on lab or free trial program. We have a bunch of new technical documentation available on our tech zone. In new hands-on lab, we fully refreshed our hands-on lab offering. So please make sure to check our hands-on lab and get